And with that, folks, we're in. Hello and welcome to Game 2 between Team Liquid and CIS Rejects on this Star Ladder I-League Star Series Season 13 coverage. Once again, I'm Llama Down Under. I'm going to be joined by Scant. I feel like we both think that the draft actually seemed pretty even. It just came down to a few key team fights.
Yeah, I think it came down to a few key team fights, and the key team fights to a large extent came down to a lack of utility or control factors for CIS rejects, which not necessarily about the picks as much as about the item choices as well. We both agreed that Iceberg is probably important in determining if his team wins the game or not, and we were kind of saying in an unnuanced way, if he gets strong, they'll probably win. If he doesn't, they'll probably lose. And I think what we discovered from the previous game to nuance the analysis a bit more is that Iceberg is probably a necessary condition for his team to win, but not a sufficient one. So even when he has the big game and gets really strong early on, you need those elements of support, control, utility coming out of his teammates as well. And I think that's probably always the case. It's very rare, except maybe with heroes like Ember Spirit, that just one hero with lots of damage is enough to do everything. And even in those cases, I feel like there's just all these unsung heroes we don't talk about. It's usually some kind of team effort, and even when your carry player gets everything they want, that's not gonna be enough on its own.
Additionally, it was a really rough game because it wasn't one of those, as you mentioned, with heroes like Ember Spirit, sometimes you can kind of stand on the edge of the fight. Shadowfiend not so able to do that. Additionally, he had a BKB, but there was Winter's Curse, Clockwork Hookshot, and something else that I am forgetting that went through BKB in those team fights. So it wasn't and Doom.
The Doom?
Yeah, the Doom. I mean, it wasn't an easy way, especially as you mentioned, without extra control, to be a Shadow Fiend. But we have got some different bans coming out. Still the Lena, Team Liquid not wanting to play into one of Iceberg's signature heroes, which then gives CIS Rejects the Doom. I think the rest of it looked pretty normal. If you know a team runs the Wisp and you can't pick it up yourself, you get rid of it. But again, Shadowfiend Slaughter on the deck, and obviously a hero that I'm sure Fodder is well versed in.
Yeah, definitely. So I wonder what they're actually thinking about at this point, because I'd be shocked if they don't pick one of the two, Shadowfiend or Slaughter. And they're probably considering like okay, so they pick the SF here. Don't go for the Slaughter. And maybe that's actually quite clever because they've already given away the Doom. And if CIS Rejects want to start with Doom Slaughter, that actually puts them in a kind of obscure position where either it's a 4-position Doom, or it's a 1-position Doom, or it's a 1-position Slaughter, and none of those are like, it's not optimal information you want to give away early on in the draft. So yeah, CIS Rejects don't pick the Slaughter either, go for the Lich Doom lane, which is a very powerful lane. But I think intelligent by Team Liquid to go for that Queen of Pain early on, not bother with the Slaughter, they might not even want it. They know they don't need to worry about CS Rejects picking it up so early, and by the way, I think I crossed this with you. Kuro was playing the support quap, right? Twice in a row.
I was gonna say, I am not sure that this is... Normally, most teams I would say, hey, offlane quap. Not sure here, because we've seen Kuro to support Queen of Pains, really unconventional drafts. I loved it. It worked, right? One of the games, it fared a lot worse than the other, but it felt like one of the games, right? She comes off the bat, she gets first blood, she gets like second and third blood, she's like 6-0, 10 minutes in as a support quap, had an Ags, 20 minutes, it was great.
Yeah, everyone's trying it right now, because originally Alliance and Empire were doing it, and then we saw Liquid doing it, and yesterday actually CIS Rejects I saw always want to fly support quap. So it seems like something that everyone wants to give a go, and I definitely don't think that CIS Rejects will be shocked if it is a support quap, having done it themselves yesterday, so it's not going to throw them that curveball that it has to some teams recently.
Yeah, I also think it's a really nice time to try things. How do I say this right? I mean, you're in group stages again, because just so folks know, this is... Star Ladder had kind of 2 group stages. You're in the group stages again. You have a bit of flexibility in what you do, and I think trying things out here always a great place to do it, because Liquid, I mean, they haven't won or lost any games in their group, albeit their group is, both groups are terrifying because they were qualifiers before this, but I think if you want to try it out, do it now, get it down, get it in place where, you're comfortable with it, even if the patch changes things up a little bit. So either way,
Yeah,
Gyrocopter. Oh, you were saying?
It's also that's well. Before we go to gyrocopter, that's actually part of it. Pre-patch, I think teams usually do this. Like soon before a new patch, they start doing some experimentation, so that the testing for the new patch essentially starts before the patch even comes out. And it seems a bit weird because you don't know the patch notes, but usually that's what we see. That heroes that become big into a new patch, there were suggestions of them being tried out right before that. But happy to go back to the draft now, and Gyrocopter being the pickup again for my Timberman. It feels like this is the only hero I ever see him play these days.
Yeah, I feel
While
like he was famous for Ember Spirit, and that's dropped off the radar, especially strange considering that Ember, I think, is very strong right now.
I like the Venge pick by Team Liquid. I like the idea, firstly, that they can use it defensively to protect their Shadow Fiend, which means that it's going to be very difficult for Shadow Fiend to go down. But secondly, swap someone out. Dazzle can't save them because Dazzle's too far away from them, because Dazzle can't be standing right at the front of the fight. So Venge could do a lot of work in this game, while Huskar actually the pick for CIS rejects party for Ramses in that safe lane. And wow, what do we? I mean, Queen of Pain ulti can do well against Huskar. There's physical damage from the Shadow Fiend. Vengeful Spirit gives that extra physical damage. I guess it's just the Huskar Dazzle Lich combo, right? It's not really about, people don't pick Huskar only because there's like, oh, nothing to deal with Huskar. It's just like, this is a hero we like to play. It's a strong hero. We've got good support package for it, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, on the other hand, it is something where I do agree they picked the Huskar into a rough spot. The Quap pure damage, it's always something where you have to use it at the very end of the Huskar's life, otherwise you're going to be in a spot of trouble, right? You just maybe buff him up a bit more. And if Kuro doesn't have a great start, might not get as much damage output as he wants on that Quap, since of course if it is a support Quap, going to be underleveled. We still don't know, it still could just be mind control Quap, although I don't believe he has a bunch of games on that. But the Huskar, it's something where it's really easy for you to overrun your opponents. If you just get off a few good team fights, the Gyrocopter never quite makes it. The magic damage isn't so good against Huskar's Berserker Blood, which of course gives magic resistance. So
the thing I don't really like that much about CS Rejects draft is that I feel like after the Huskar pick, which often happens, they've sort of made their draft about Huskar. And I was going to complain that Dazzle Lich as a support combo doesn't allow that many proactive options for them to make plays. And I was wondering, you know, what are the cores they're going to pick for Dazzle and Lich to support, to do those proactive things, to create those threats. And when you pick a hero like Huskar, it kind of centers the attention all around Huskar. And I feel like Team Liquid is an experienced enough team to come up with a plan to not fight sloppily into the Huskar, deal with the Huskar. And I don't honestly, I don't know what CS Reject's last pick is going to be, but at the moment from CS Reject's draft, it looks like if you contain Huskar, that's it. That's okay. Sure, they're still going to pick an Iceberg hero, but that's another way to deal with Huskar potentially.
And we don't know at all which of these is support, right? Because we've seen out of Liquid support Bat and support Quap. So I'm just sitting here going, I don't know who you've got, but you have a lot of teamfight control, as you mentioned, for the Huskar. They've got, of course, the Venge stun. They've got Gyrocopter has a bunch of slows, or that stun. Queen of Pain, of course, has a slow. So this Huskar, he doesn't actually have really big range, even though he is a ranged hero. So he can be kited around. And of course, if Bat Rider grabs him, you pick off the Huskar at the beginning of the fight. CIS rejects, I mean, they're going to probably pick another core hero here, but it just might not cut it.
Yeah, they're also lacking stuns at the moment. Sure, they've got like potential mini stuns from 3 of the heroes, but no actual lockdown. And that's part of why I felt like CS Reject's plan is just to play around their Huskar and hope he gets out of control. But getting swapped away or pulled away by a bat and then just burst down seems like a possibility to me right now. So I think CS Rejects might want to consider just having like a completely separate hero that's important for Liquid to deal with right now. I think it's Huskar and Doom are not going to be the cores that do it on their own, and this needs to be a core that sort of recenters their draft a bit.
Yeah, it's also something where I'm not 100% sure what the lanes will be here. Obviously, offlane Doom I think is the most common, but we have seen Doom I think in all different positions. An Invoker. I have to say I like that.
That recenters the draft quite substantially, I would say. Invoker is going to be the playmaker, the pace setter, almost certainly for his team now.
So, I have not, I believe, seen Iceberg on Invoker. I mean, it's something that I feel like all mid-specialists, they know how to play this guy, but it'll be interesting. I do feel like just because they do have the teamfight disadvantage, this will be Quas Wex. I would love to see Exort, though, right? I mean, I think Exort's more exciting for everyone. More difficult for me to get all the kills on the camera, but excitement.
Yeah, I mean, it's more exciting, especially in a game like this where there's not really setups for the Sunstrikes. So
Yeah.
if he's hitting them, it really is just skill shots. But I think I agree with you. I think it makes more sense to see a Quaswex here, and Quaswex is by far the dominant invoker build in general in professional Dota right now.
I think the only time we've seen Exort recently is with the Tusk or the Spirit Breaker setup, which of course makes it easy to hit those Sunstrikes. But let's get into it, folks. I'm gonna introduce Liquid this time, just in case you folks don't know who's on there. I know you probably all do, but we'll do it anyway. We got Mind Control on the Batman, Bat with a funky mount. I like that. Kuro is going to be on the Queen of Pain, so it is going to be that support co-op. Either way, excited to see what they output here. We've got Fata on the Shadow Fiend, Jerax on that Venge, and finally Matumba Man, as you said, on that Gyrocopter, the only hero we get to see him play.
Yep, and on the opposing side, going into the off lane is Afterlife on the Doom this time. Going to the mid lane, Iceberg on his Invoker. We're going to see Gorblack probably running the dual lane on Lich with the Doombringer. And on the safe lane, they'll have Dazzle, played by Always Wanna Fly, and Ramses, playing the Huskar.
And speaking of Dazzle, he is in a little bit of the danger zone. He's going to take a stun, but the rest of the team isn't quite here. The Shadow Fiend hasn't skilled yet, so we won't know what he's going. But Always Wanna Fly, he may as well just go back to base. He actually just eats a tree. Really surprised he didn't just hop on down to just walk back to Fountain, but probably wanting to be strong for the rune contesting that's going to be coming up soon.
It's okay, he can heal himself up. It doesn't take that much. I mean, I don't think he goes to Fountain, I think he just goes to block, maybe I'm wrong. Because usually Dazzle's heal takes very little mana and actually heals quite a lot of value early on.
The battle begins.
Yeah, yes, when you're very low health, always doing a lot of work. And he actually, yeah, he goes for the block. Goes, I think that was meant the TZ block, as it's known. So Dazzle's going to be blocking up there. Lich ate a creep in the top lane. And this is something where we hadn't touched on it at all yet, but Lich is always a real pain to play into. He really nerfs the farm your team's able to get. Level 2 points in sacrifice is losing almost a fourth of your farm on that Gyrocopter. It's going to be rough. And Afterlife has been spotted in the jungle, so he might be forced out before he can eat a creep.
Yeah, my concern is that, again, there's a potential limitation on utility coming out of the side of CIS Rejects, just like last game. Which is that Lich, yes, does a lot in the lane stage. After the lane stage, it gives people armor and sometimes does damage and it slows things. But it doesn't, like, lock down, control. Certainly hardly ever dictates, the positioning for a fight. Or so it's a hero that actually gets punished, I think, quite a lot by various things. It's just not that versatile in terms of moving around the map, reacting to what's going on.
Yep, Always Wanna Fly taking a lot of harassment from Kuro. That Shadow Strike does work, and oh goodness, Kuro, he might be able to get him low. There's going to be a heal coming out. It's going to be enough, and another tick, not going to bring him down, so...
And he just told them roughly where the ward is, I think. With that final hit, Always Wanna Fly's got to know that there was a ward showing.
Yeah, that's another thing we actually see... I'm kind of surprised Kuro went for it then, just because as we've talked about, it makes it really, that area is really hard to go in on, but oh, we have an engagement. There are 4 napalm stacks. I think Ramses just has to try and stand here and fight, but of course, that's going to be a Bat Rider who can just get away, and Ramses, he may be our first blood. He's taking quite a bit of damage from that Shadow Strike, but he should be able to stick up if he's in danger, and I don't know. Oh goodness, this is the Dazzle that could. So nobody's going to go down. Quite a few people getting really low though.
Yeah, Mind Control used pretty much all of his mana though, so unless he wants to eat through that mango, he's gonna probably start losing out on the farm for a while.
And I have to say, this Invoker is actually doing a lot better in CS than I expected. The dominance from the SF may come out in a little bit, but it's something where Invoker, the Quaswex Invoker, really loses lanes. I mean, you've got very little damage, you can see here. You just have a rough time lost hitting because you don't have something easy like Souls, and he's getting a lot of denies. Like, Iceberg's playing really well, I have to say.
Yeah, the difference is not that big before the Shadow Fiend's got souls, but once the Shadow Fiend starts getting souls, it becomes almost impossible for Invoker to out-CS, so you're right, I think it's quite impressive.
Yeah, just because Shadow Fiend does have a couple of old soulies on him, not quite sure how that works. He just steals their souls, because he's a fiend. Either way, let's take a look up at top. Matumba Man, he's lost hitting okay. It does look like everybody in this game, though, having a bit of a rough time. And as I say that, we got a Shallow Grave coming up at Ramses. This is going to be our first blood. He's trying to pound into them. Can he get second blood as well? Mind Control is going to go down. Can he get the auto attacks on Kuro? But he blinks away. I actually think if Ramses had turned there, I mean, albeit he had 5 stacks of napalm, not that easy to change your target. He could have maybe also gotten the after death kill on Kuro.
So this is one of those annoying things about laning against Dazzle and Huskar. Like, there's basically never a time where you kill Huskar without him killing you.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen because he's gonna get that many burning spears on you. I think though that Liquid are pretty happy with that trade.
Yeah.
Because if they keep the Huskar's farm down, that's a big problem for CS Rejects.
And he gets no experience for those kills as well. That's one of the issues with Huskar. If you want to make sure you get the experience for the kill, that you get it before you die, you sometimes have to hit a person who would have otherwise been dead. And I think that's why Ramses continued to go on to mind control, because he really would prefer getting the experience being the secondary death.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, they're gonna continue to just trade blows in this lane, but actually it just seems like a lot of people are falling behind on farm now. Shadowfiend's starting to pull away, as we expected him to do. Gyrocopter's starting to pull away, and CIS Rejects are not actually keeping up. Although there's actually gonna be a chase down with the Scorched Earth now to Timberman. Maybe no. No.
I think he just decided it wasn't happening. It was coming off cooldown as well. So, or it was wearing out is the word I wanted. So we're not seeing too much action. I have to say both of these games, considering it's CIS Dota, I was expecting a little bit more excitement in both sets, but not too much. And we have a lot of posturing, as you said, a lot of people getting low. This Huskar's back up to 6-7 sticky napalm stacks. I feel like when you get that many stacks on you, you just need to back up and chill a little bit.
He seems to be making a deliberate point of like baiting. That's what I feel like. There's a subtle like interchange of aggression where Huskar's kind of saying, okay, I dare you, go on me, I'm gonna kill you, you're not gonna kill me. And that's why I think every now and then he gets the stacks but doesn't go back. Almost as if, yeah, as if he wants the bat to go on him.
Yeah. Now, because of how hectic both of these lanes are, it does mean that we're seeing a lot less stacks in the jungle than I would necessarily expect. Venge isn't having a great opportunity to go and give those for SF. Now, he can do it himself on Dire, but it is really hard. So we're not going to be seeing maybe the flash farm out of Fodder that we're used to from an SF.
Fodder's got a haste rune in his bottle, which makes me think he might try kill Iceberg soon. And actually, I think Goblax thought the same thing because he's head over to that mid lane.
Can Goblax do enough though? I mean, he's a lich.
Yeah, that is true. That's what we've talked about. But they're actually going to go for the kill on Fodder. Well, Goblax coming around, but through the haste rune just seems impossible.
Yeah,
unless
they
you tornado
do.
off the haste.
Okay, he's got the cold snap coming out. As you said, they can tornado off the haste. Oh, he's not going to hit it at all, though. Kind of 90-degree angle now. Iceberg slowed a little bit, and with that haste rune, they could think about coming back in, but they're going to do the safe play as I see Doom falling in the top lane. They run him down. And that'll be that. So a little bit of a missed gank in mid, but I really think that's just lich things. You're not exactly... Oh, Kuro steals the rune. Always want to fly, has to TP out. That's rough.
If Iceberg had hit the tornado, that's probably a kill on Fata, so it's worth going for the kill. But once they don't take off the haste, there's not really much of a chance, and they pay for it elsewhere on the map.
Yeah. Either way, we're starting to see that Liquid is pulling ahead a little bit, albeit, you know, this is within 1,000 gold. We're 6 minutes in. It's anybody's game. Just want to stress that. But, of course, we are seeing that Liquid has a few heroes on the top of the net worth. Do you think this is a Midas Invoker game? He's, of course, got the workings of an urn. I don't think it would be bad to get the Midas, but it does feel like if he can get up that Orchid, of course, there are a lot of easy pickoffs. Although I have to imagine Liquid will anticipate that as well if they see the Orchid come up and then kind of group up, play in pairs.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. There's also even potential for the Yules, although I think it probably depends on finish the urn, make some plays, see how the game goes. How quickly do you get charges, how quickly do you get gold, and then you decide from there what you're going to buy.
And as you mentioned last game, we're seeing this a lot more out of players. It really used to be something where, I mean, everybody was going Sanjanyasha, everybody was going back on Shadowfiend. It was very obvious. They'd build it up in parts. You know, you see the headdress, then the buckler, etc. A lot of these players waiting, and as you said, it might be waiting to see how the game goes. It might just be waiting to see if you can buy it all at once. We have an initiation down bottom, but they don't know Jerax is here. And the Shallow Grave, it's ready on Always Want to Fly, but he has to be very careful with it. He actually already has thrown it out, and now Ramses gets to do a lot of damage. There should also be a tornado. It's way too short. Ramses is going to be alive for one of the kills. Not going to be able to get... Yeah, he doesn't get credit for the second. Oh, no, he does. Dazzle technically gets credit for one of those, so... again, Huskar, though. I mean, this is just classic Huskar. You think you can fight, you can't.
There was a tough decision there, right? Jerax's Vengeful Spirit had to decide to stun the Huskar or the Dazzle. He tried to stun the Dazzle to avoid the Grave going off. The Grave went off anyway, and immediately, I'm sure he regretted his decision, because if he stuns Huskar, even though Grave keeps him up, Huskar can't kill people, but in the meantime, Doombringer in the top lane actually taken very low by Kuro.
Yeah,
He
he
needs... Gonna be
needs...
fine.
No, I don't think so. There'll be this next tick. He needs someone to deny him. There we go. Oh, and they actually try to use the Howl. So, isn't able to quite get the Howl.
Thought he still had a magic stick to use.
No.
Apparently not.
Yeah, and his Tranquils were not up, so it's just Doom things. Iceberg actually taking a lot of damage in the mid lane, as Fodder says I have an illusion rune. I mean, they have the glyph. They should be able to hold this, but it's hard. Iceberg may have to use some spells to zone out the SF. He manages to hit the tornado. He has a cold snap coming out, but he has to be careful. Fodder may turn around and raise. No, he's getting stunned up too much. Always want to fly coming out. There's going to be an EMP. It'll do good damage, but now they need the heal. The urn, it's going to tick down on Fodder, but not enough. He lives with 22 health, and now there's a lot of heroes in mid, although there should be the sustain. They do hold the tower, though. I think you'd kind of hope it gets into deny range, but again, if you can keep your mid tower up, that's a lot of map control.
Yeah, they also got Smetubberman to make rotation and use a whole lot of his mana, and that's going to put his farm back, so I think that's very good, because it was only supports that came to mid lane for CIS rejects, and it's actually the...
We have the dunk on bottom, and then immediately the lasso. Not exactly what I think he was going to dunk into, but this still should be a lot of damage output, not enough to kill the Batman. So, gonna be fine.
Not a lane that Batrider wants to farm in anymore. I think I wouldn't be that surprised if Mind Control wanted to move into the jungle now, but problem is Shadow Fiend's there already. So I don't know actually where we're gonna see the Blink Tiger finish. It's actually gonna be an Urn first for the Batrider, but how he's gonna get Blink in this game might actually be a bit of an issue, I think, because it's really difficult to get lane farm. So does he move into enemy jungle, try to farm there? I'm not sure.
Doom again, Afterlife in a lot of trouble, a lot of heroes here. Tornado does come out as well as an EMP. Kuro gonna have no mana to blink away. They have to get some auto attacks or a Lich Blast will finish him off. What was that swap? Like 500 units, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna lead them all to their death, and Doom, he's gonna be fine. Scorched Earth doing work. So again, a team fight that doesn't go their way, and if they can find Mind Control on this bottom lane, he does have 3 spears on him. They need to add a couple more, but Ramsey's getting very low. He is omelet toggling already, and he may go down as, oh, they got the immediate shallow grave. They go for the dunk onto Matamba, man. Ramsey's like, if I'm going down, I'm bringing you with me. And he might not even die. He has to omelet toggle very carefully, isn't able to. And now Dazzle, he is the one who's going to be in trouble. Always want to fly. He does have a heal, and Kuro not going for more. So we missed the first bit of that fight recap, but we got the second. Definitely fantastic for CIS in that first one. I mean, they kind of got away with Motor.
Well, it was just a really good EMP from Iceberg. Nobody on there were like 3 liquid heroes that just had no mana after it, and then it's like panic stations. Yeah. It's probably one of the invoker skills that like irritates professional players the most. If I had to guess, like when people are like ban invoker, they're thinking about the EMP. They're like, I don't want to deal with that. Well, in the meantime, I always want to fly without any mana. Is being caught by the Batrider. Kuro's here, but there's also a Huskar incoming.
He manages to get off that shallow grave. Will this buy enough time? He even manages to pop the minus armor. The weave is sticking on people, and if he gets... This is actually getting away with Motor. He does not have a TP, but he will have enough one charges to throw out a heal, and he's thinking about helping his team go in for more. At the same time, just gonna have a quick look at Liquid's wards. Yeah, we got some deep action. They want to make something happen in bottom, but I don't think it's the lane you go for. Like you mentioned before, I don't think you actually rotate anyone to farm where the Huskar is. I think you unfortunately... You have to ignore him a little, because he doesn't farm creeps fantastically, and as I say, this Fodder taking a lot of damage on top. They even expend the Doom, but there's so many heroes TPing in. Can Invoker control all of the folks coming in? There's gonna be a ult dropped by the Lich. They finally managed to kill off Fodder, but Gyrocopter gets the kill on the Lich in return, and now Matamba Man, he is going down. There's gonna be a tornado to kill him off. Kuro does have Blink up. 15-second cooldown, though. They might be able to catch up to her, and Invoker, he is hunting. I don't think he's quite fast enough. So I think that should be the end of that.
It's a dream come true for a Lich though. A position where Chain Frost actually bounces a lot early on in the game.
And he got
usually
creeps.
You can't guarantee those.
I mean, sorry, I meant to say he got like farm and heroes. It was great.
Yeah, no, it's... I mean, because we talked about limitations on the hero, but sometimes you just have these fights where the hero looks just fantastic and it's pulling its weight completely. It's not just about winning lanes if the Chain Frost is bouncing up and down in a fight.
Oh, knowing that this Firefly is down, I think you're going to see a dunk coming out. I mean, it seems like ideal time to go for it if they get vision. There's going to be a weave thrown out as well, so the Huskar can feel very comfortable, not quite wanting to go into the fire just yet. Although, if Batrider keeps playing up so aggressively, I have to expect he'll be taking a dunk. And they do keep coming down bottom for Liquid. I think it's a really hard ask of them to do anything about this Huskar yet.
I think Liquid are in big trouble, to be honest. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that, well, that's not gonna go down again.
Yeah, it looks like he is. There's gonna be a tornado. He may, you know, there's no TP support. He's just gonna pop. And that, as you said, looking like Liquid's... I mean, albeit last game, they were definitely behind a little bit at some points. They made it up with team fights. We're going to have the initiation. Huskar is being pulled back. Dazzle is nearby, though. He has to be very careful about this shallow grave timing. He pops it out as the sonic wave comes out. And now Ramsey, he is ready to rip on through them. He's going to fall, though. He's armlet toggling. He can't turn around. He's going down. The Invoker is here, though, and Iceberg. He has a tornado. Isn't going to hit onto anyone. I think that should be the end of the initiation. But once again, they managed to pick one off when it was kind of, you know, I think that was a 4v2 for most of that initiation.
Yeah, I think, yeah, what I was gonna say, Liquid are looking in trouble here. Batrider is taking a long time, but underfarmed, so is Gyrocopter. They both need to catch up. There's not enough space for all three of these heroes to catch up in their jungle. The one good thing for Liquid is that we've seen this dynamic over and over recently, that they don't do well in the early fights, and they somehow manage to win games anyway. So on that basis, I'd say maybe they're not actually out of their comfort zone yet, because they're kind of used to playing from behind.
Yeah, it really is interesting. We've talked about it on previous calls, so it feels like Liquid, they were clearly a top 4 in Europe contender, and then maybe just because they haven't been having as many professional matches since there was kind of that lull around the majors, and we have an invis on Jerax. This could be really big, but it has to be used properly on Iceberg. Iceberg's in a lot of trouble, I think, actually. He might just be swapped into a lasso. Oh gosh, I think maybe a little bit of a miscommunication coming out there, and it's going to allow Iceberg to get away. The Lich ult is bouncing mind control. A little bit more damage. They don't manage to pop an urn charge on him, and this Lich ult, maybe not as good as the last, but Kuro, he blinks in aggressively. That is a 15-second cooldown on level 1 blink, and he just goes to his death.
Batrider's ulti wasn't ready yet when Venge swapped, and I think the conversation is they wait for the Bat ulti, but they couldn't. They thought Invoker would go back, and Venge is just like, oh, I gotta go now. But it doesn't work out. I mean, in that situation, you just gotta accept you missed the window, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Afterlife, he is stalking up top. I imagine he might pop out of these trees when he gets vision with this ward that he can go for an easy doom. He's also gone for the early Vlads, which I have to say is something I like. But if he goes for this, there's going to be TP support coming out of the Venge, and that can really hamper what you can do. We're going to be seeing he pops the drums, he pops the Scorched Earth. He has to get quite a bit of damage on here. Venge, I'm imagining she'll do a saving swap. And there's a stun. Matumba Man, I don't think he even ticks down to this. So, poor Doom needed to get out that level death or something. And we also have Invoker. Oh no, Iceberg. He's going for the snipe. I'm not sure if he was spotted.
No, he gets it.
Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't go for it. There's gonna be the TP. There's the cold snap. 2 more auto attacks should do this. Yeah, with the he doesn't have a TP though. Oh goodness, he's gonna just the ghost walk away. He goes for another kill onto Jerax. He has to be careful with what he invokes. And we got a Doom up here. Oh goodness, they need some TP support or something. There's gonna be a Sonic Wave and Iceberg. Oh, he manages to go down, but now Afterlife, he also doesn't have Scorched Earth up, so I have to imagine he'll fall. I think a pretty ambitious play coming out from CIS Rejects, unfortunately, again, and this is where it went wrong for them last time. They lost a big streak on Iceberg, and they lost a lot. On this case, though, they are exchanging for a tier 2 tower down bottom.
Yeah, even so, I tend to agree. It's maybe a bad sign for them when they lose that big streak on Iceberg. It's a really good play to recognize, hey, we can make this extra kill and still get out, but it's contingent on there not being further reinforcements for Liquid. And one thing that Liquid have shown very clearly to me, even when they're losing these fights, is their players always get there. Always. They've taken a page out of the book from C-Deck, and they basically always all have TPs, and if a fight breaks out and it lasts long, they'll all get there, for sure.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of the problem there really just being that Iceberg didn't have a TP. He had no way of getting out of that engagement, and a TP would have probably been the easy task, or the easy way out, so... But either way, we're going to be seeing his Orchid is finished, has been for a little bit. He's now building into what I'm going to guess is a BKB.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he could go for the Aghanim Scepter the only other real option, but probably a BKB, and he's actually going to find Fada here.
Now, Fodder, he is taking quite a bit of damage. There's also going to be an EMP. Again, no TP rotations. I think they keep sacking Fodder in exchange for other objectives, and I'm not sure if it's wrong, just because I'm not... I mean, they might have thought there was too much backup being nearby since they were taking this mid-tower, but Fodder's having a really rough time. I mean, he's a Shadow Fiend who keeps kind of catching up and then they kill him, and catching up and they kill him, and this is them going for Roshan. Everybody knows on Liquid.
Yeah, there wasn't really... I mean, someone could have TP'd to Fodder. I think they wouldn't have saved him anyway, to be honest. Well, there's going to be a play here by Mind Control, trying to delay. I don't know if he's going to try steal.
While you say there might be a play from Mind Control, we have Venge just being easily picked off, and if they're not careful, there will be more. He's going to go for the steal. He doesn't manage to get it, and this should just be Mind Control giving up his life, but he has gotten the Huskar stuck on the high ground. Maybe not where he wants to be, and Gold Black is very low. If Kuro could find an angle, that Sonic Wave has a big old range, and oh, he's thinking about it. But unfortunately, I think he needs to leave. And they don't have vision of Kuro. They're trying to go in for that Doom. Kuro has to wait 4 more seconds. Oh no, he's revealed his location. Goodbye, Kuroki. So,
Did you see how the Huskar got down? He
yeah,
just
he
ulted
dunked
onto the Ancients.
Yeah, it was a bit... I wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought he'd have to TP out, which of course causes problems since he hasn't finished his treads, so doesn't have the slot. Yeah, and CIS Rejects looking really dominant this game. I still do think it's something we saw this type of lead for them. They whiffed on one team fight and then Liquid took their racks, making the game a lot easier, but I mean, I think this is a clear case of Liquid is being Huskard.
Yeah, it's CIS Rejects' game to throw it at this point. If they don't throw it, they should definitely win it, I think. But they're capable of throwing. It could happen.
So, Ramses, he can play really far up, but of course you don't want to burn that Aegis and respawn in a horrible place. I feel like Liquid, they have to get something huge out of Mind Control. He has picked up the Blink Dagger, we'll be able to blink around, maybe get something, and they also have Jerax with that swap. It's still only level 1 though, which is really rough. It's really short. They get the deny, well played Jerax, but they're going to eat an EMP Tornado, Deafening Blast as well. Jerax may just go down to 1 more auto attack. They have the Requiem of Souls on the sidelines, but it didn't hit the Invoker soon enough to get the minus damage debuff to save Jerax's life, and now they're looking in a pretty good spot to go for that tower. I'm actually surprised he hasn't alacrity'd up Ramses, just because it would add a lot of attack speed, up his damage, but deciding he would rather have the other spells up, and they melee Raxen out, and I have to say that's a lot more disciplined from CIS Rejects.
Yeah, it's a good sign. I think the lack of alacrity is just because he used all 3. He used EMP Tornado and Deafening Blast to make the kill, and you always gotta have Cold Snap up if you're in a fight situation. Which is maybe one reason he could consider going for Ags, but no, he's gonna finish his BKB first. And I don't know how they actually deal with him at this point. I feel like now, this is what I was talking about in the draft. Huskar on its own might not be enough this game, if he's the only one they have to deal with, but Invoker with this BKB, all of a sudden Liquid have to like throw all their resources at Invoker, and they have to throw all their resources at Huskar. Yeah. Neither of them can be handled easily, and it's a huge issue because we're looking at another set of Raxes very soon.
We're also seeing that we've got a 12,000, probably actually closer to 13,500 net worth lead in favor of CIS Rejects. Something like an 8,000 experience lead. Fodder is rocking treads, half of a BKB, and an Aquila. I mean,
yeah.
This isn't great for a Shadow Fiend. He has sub 400 GPM. A lot of this being just how the laning phase went. I really want to stress that the fact that he didn't have stacks, I think, being pretty disastrous for a Shadow Fiend.
Nice. He's got BKB now at least. Yeah. And that's going to be, I mean, if anything can make a difference, it's that, but I don't know if it is even enough.
It might be too little too late. We do have a swap coming out. Of course, there is still going to be that Aegis up on the Huskar. If they can pull him deep and burn those lives deep in the base, it might be something. Fodder does pop that Invis Rune. They picked off the Venge already, and it's looking like, oh, the Huskar, he is ready to do a lot of damage. The Requiem of Souls cancelled by the Lich Ult, but now with the BKB, they have nothing else. But at the same time, Fodder has nothing else. And as you said, it might be game. We do have a buyback coming out of Gyrocopter, and Huskar, he's dead pretty deep at the same, and they haven't taken down the tier 3. So they have to turn around and get this on CIS Rejects, but they've already won the first part of the fight, and it should just be a matter of time. Mind Control going in, but he doesn't have ult or anything, and they're dunking Matumba Man. This is GG. Kuro drops that ult, and we're going to be headed into a game 3, folks. A pretty... I really just have to say, oh, Mind Control actually gets a couple kills. Probably people typing GG and stuff, though. I have to say, I feel like this was just a case of the Huskar getting out of control.
I mean, I to an extent I agree, but I actually think Iceberg's the one doing most of the work this game, and that's what impresses me because I feel like Husk on its own would not have gotten out of control this game. There's the option to, you know, pull it back with a bat, swap it back, isolate and kill it. But in this situation, it was actually Invoker and Husk got both out of control, and you don't. I mean, you just can't handle two out of control heroes.
Yeah.
At that level of out of controlness this
Yeah.
early in the game.
And as you point out, Invoker 11-1. Okay. So either way, folks, thank you so much for watching. I've been joined by Scant. He goes by Scantsaw on the Twitter. Please check him out. Show him some love. I've got his handle up on the screen. I'm Llama Down Under. You can also find me on Twitter at Llama Down Under. I would love any and all feedback on how to get better. I'm sure Scant would too. So please hit us up with that. And once again, thank you so much for watching Star Ladder. We'll get you into that game through right quick after a few words from the Star Ladder sponsors. So peace out, folks, and see you shortly.